through the cracks of closed gates, and I think about the relentless churn of history this street has witnessed. Here, an empire rose, fell, and now rises again. Only the trees were constant. I had lived on the street for nearly 3 years before I noticed Chen Kai's sandwich shop. It was less than a block away from my apartment, above a tiny boutique, but during the warm summer months, the leafy plane trees obstructed it entirely. A narrow spiral staircase led upstairs to the cafe's floor-to-ceiling windows. On the other side of the glass, a wall of leaves swayed in the wind, shielding the shop from the bustle of Shanghai below. Inside, Chen, who goes by the nickname CK, often stood hunched over the counter, his black mop of hair obscuring his eyes, skinny fingers putting the finishing touches on a sandwich or a dessert before he flipped his mane back and mechanically swiped a cup of piping hot coffee from the espresso machine for a customer. Usually, though, the shop was empty. That's okay, CK told himself. It's going to take time before business takes off. That's how dreams work. During those times, he'd slouch atop a bar stool, his boyish, acne-covered face turned away from the glass wall of trees. He'd quickly switch from one Chinese dialect to another over the phone, making deals for his side business. Selling accordions. The idea for the sandwich shop came to him after he visited one in Chicago, during his only trip to the United States. There would have been nothing extraordinary about the shop to American eyes, but CK was impressed and wanted to replicate the experience for Chinese diners. It was like an American returning from China, inspired by a noodle stand. Such a seemingly reckless approach was typical of many small business owners I met along the street. In a city as big and rich as Shanghai, you could sell anything if you put your mind to it. CK dreamed that one day this artisan second-floor sandwich shop would become his main livelihood. He had invested years' worth of earnings from selling accordions into this place, pooling his savings with a friend's to create a space they hoped would attract young musicians and artists like them. One day I had an idea. Maybe I can get all these people together and unite them, CK told me. I want to find people who want to free themselves from the overall system. I want friends like me, entrepreneurs who have independent ideas of art, fashion design, lots of different industries. Ambitions like CK's make the Street of Eternal Happiness a fascinating stroll. Tiny shops and cafes like his lined the narrow thoroughfare. The dreams of bright-eyed outsiders stacked up against each other, all looking to make it in the big city. It wasn't easy. Neither CK nor his friend Max had any experience working at, much less owning, a restaurant. The two had met in 2011 at an antique camera shop in the former French concession where CK had taken a part-time job to learn more about photography. Like CK, Max had an entrepreneurial background. Through long conversations during their shifts at the camera shop, each had come to appreciate the other's savvy approach to making and selling product. Eventually, CK convinced Matt to team up with him to open a sandwich shop. They named it Your Sandwich. It was 2 blocks from a busy subway station, in the shadow of a 45-story skyscraper that spit out hundreds of office workers each day at noon, all searching for a quick lunch. But nobody could see Your Sandwich. It was obscured by the plane trees. No one ever looked up through the canopy as they rushed along the Street of Eternal Happiness. So they changed the name to Second Floor, a hint to passers-by that they should elevate their gaze as they passed. Below the new name, in diminutive typeface, were the words, Your Sandwich. They also hired a new chef, constructed a bar with mixed drinks and imported beer, and obsessively fiddled with the menu. One day I dropped by CK's apartment and noticed a pile of electronic tablets stacked in the corner. Touchscreen menus,